So, yet another shader coding stream. Let me know if the sound is okay, if the music is too loud, and say hi if you are there in the chat. So today there will be two different things. So I was at Evoke 1 week ago. So it's a demo party in Cologne, and so I did the 4K for that demo party, and I also took part in the shader showdown. So I want to come back on the shader I made for the showdown and improve it somewhat because it was a bit rushed. And I also want to show a little bit of the 4K and how it was made. So I don't know which I should start. Maybe I should start with the showdown. Hey Alkama, how are you? So do you want to see the 4K or the showdown? Yeah. Either is fine. Okay. Well, let's start with the 4K, so I can have every time I want on the showdown after that. So let's switch scene. So here is my 4K framework. It's heavily derived from a framework you can find on GitHub. It's Leviathan 2.0, and it's a nice 4K setup. It's the same I used for revision for my 4K for revision, but it's improved a little bit. I added some things. At some point I think I will put it on GitHub also, but right now it's not there. So I can should I show the video? Maybe I can maybe show the video I made for the... Hello Sophia, how are you? So yeah, I can show you the video. I think that's the best way to approach it. Oh, maybe you don't have much sound. So yeah. Hi XJ and hi Bruce. So that's my 4K. I will build it in editor mode. I can also, one thing I added recently is I can have the camera position. Let's try to make it. So that's, maybe I can just do that. No candy. So I will just put back music a little bit less strong. So there I should have some let's try like that. So you have an editor mode in the framework. Let's see. Yeah, of course I broke something. Oh, you don't have the scene, sorry. You should. What? Sorry, it was working just before. Why is there no... That's pretty strange. Okay, I don't know what's happening there. Sorry, I have some trouble with my setup. Okay, it's back randomly. Okay, so now we can see Visual Studio. And so, yeah. So let's start again. So with the framework, I can. Ooh, I break something. That's for sure. What did I do? Yeah. Okay. So in the editor mode, I can move the camera around. So that's great. So it is. What did I do wrong? Okay. Okay, so I can also change something. There is a hot reload. For example, yeah, I can change what shape is there. So I have the plane that you saw, and No. Of course, it doesn't work. Okay. Sorry. So yeah, here you have it. Sphere. So if you saw one of my past streaming, I did exactly a scene pretty much like that. It was a little bit different, but yeah, so I didn't have much time for the demo, so what I did is just using that scene, and I also wanted to add depth of field, so blurring with distance. And what I wanted to try is to have that working with the translucency. That's a big issue there. It's not working that well, but the demo, it's good enough, I think. So what I have in the framework is an amount of blur from the front pass and for the background. I also have some distance, starting distance somewhere here. So here I have also a blur for the foreground. So the elements in the front are blurred like that. So you can see by translucency the background sharp, the sharp background, while having blurred in the front. So yeah. Yeah, so the scene is pretty simple. I added like a different reflection background with colors, and the colors are switching randomly. So the reflection also switch. And the reflection too. And I added several models. So there is the plane, the sphere, the cube. Some kind of cylinder with a sine wave inside. I think that's one of my favorites. It works pretty well with the scene. Maybe I should have used it more. And finally, I added some kind of ice-pudding things. It's not really working there. Maybe I can just to... So... that one. So that thing. Some kind of exploding red thingy. And I also so I also put like I can change the color, I can make them red or consistent, or I can also just make them having different colors. Anyway, and what can I say? So there is several issue I had in the final. There was a big issue with the shader. So I did everything in some part. So I can maybe just show how it's done. It's not very different from before. There is like a kaleidoscopic function here for the structures, and if you saw the stream where I made that, I use how should I say that? I use the minimum distance on the 3 axis to make maybe I should go back to a simpler scene. So there, maybe just a sphere. There I make a lot of symmetry plane, and I use distance from each axis to have a distance function to make the separation between the crystals. And the big problem I have with the shader, and I didn't realize at the moment. Oh, yeah, okay, it's back. I thought I lost the visual. And the big issue I had is that I use random function. And the random function I use here, so it takes... Hi Manus, how are you? So my random function is pretty standard. It used an input, a float input, and it returns another float, but with a random value. Sorry. But so to do that, I use a classic random function I use very often in my stream, and that function is using sinus. And the big issue here is that sinus is not very precise, and it can be very different depending on the platform. So the big issue here is that on my computer and on the Evoke computer, it was not the same random. so that's very bad. So the whole demo is pretty much different on the what I showed at Evoke was different from what I did in my what I wanted to show. It's not always big difference because it's a random value, but I use that a lot. I use that also for the camera. I use a curve there that use that random function. And so that means that every camera motion was different on the Evoke big screen. So that's pretty sad. So there is a lot of geometry coming through the camera. There is some in the video you saw, but I was thinking it was pretty limited. But in the Evoke big screen, there was a lot more. So that's a lesson for me, I think. I need to start using random based, not on sinus. So there is other random functions I use only, like fract and multiply and things like that. And those things are pretty much guaranteed to be the same on all platforms. It's just a question of maybe not on mobile if you don't have enough precision, but it's a lot more stable than sinus. I can still use that on Shadow Showdown, for example, because it doesn't really matter. I just use that to make a random camera and not precise things. But if you use random for precise thing, like a camera in a 4K, where you choose well your parameters, then you need to know that the random can change between platforms. Anyway, that's about it, I think. I can show you. So in the framework, I also needed to add. So to do the translucency effect and the to do the depth of field effect, I needed to use several output buffers, several render targets. So usually in a OpenGL or anything, you have just one render target where you will draw your shaders, but you can also have several render targets, so several textures, and you can put what you want in each of them. And I wanted to do that to separate each plane of blurriness. So in the end, I have, you can see it here, I have 3 output buffers, and I can and I change what I put inside depending on the depth of the pixel. So each surface, each time I hit a surface, like a translucent surface or anything, I will put the color of the surface in one of those 3 buffers, depending on the depth. So what is close, so I have a distance where everything is sharp. Let me show you there. So here you can see I have the foreground that is blurred. I have a specific distance, maybe I can show with the plane maybe. Okay, so it's not very beautiful with the plane, but so what's close is blurred, what's at the specified distance is sharp, and then it's blurred again. And what I do is that I put each of those thing in separate textures, and in another shader, post-process shader, I can get the 3 textures. For example, I can show you here. So here it's the 3 texture just added, but I can also just show you the first one. The second one. Oops, sorry. Oops, sorry. So there it's the second one and the third one. There you see some things even in the foreground. That's in fact the reflection by the foreground of the background. That's the hard things with transparency, is that you can't really separate like that, but it works pretty well. So I have those 3 things, and what I do is, like for the foreground, I can blur it. And I can blur it by a value. Like here it's not blurred. Here it's blurred a little bit. And here it's blurred a lot. What I also wanted to do is to put a fringing effect. I didn't have time to make a wheel fringing effect that depends on the refraction and everything, so it's just a fake one. And how it works, I should be able to show you that. Sorry, I just need to... I put everything together to help with... to help with the size. So there I should... What did I do wrong? I don't know. Okay, it doesn't work anymore. Let me launch it again, maybe something broke, yeah. So here I should sorry, my computer is kinda dying right now with all the switch. Okay. So there, I don't have any fringing effect. So, as I didn't have enough token and everything, I just put the fringing effect on the depth of field effect. Like that. And the direction of the, like if you see, there the blue is on top and the red is at the bottom, and here it's inverted. So it's just screen space based. Yeah, that's all. And so my blur is made by like taking 16 samples and with like a rotation position. Maybe I can show you that. Yeah, let's show that. Here you can see the pattern a little bit. You can see the 16 samples that are separated. So that's what you get if you just do 16 samples. What I do is that each samples will be will change its color depending on the direction from the center. Like if the sample is to the right of the center of the pixel, and like it would be red, for example. So I can color each sample to make it red or blue or green, and I can show you without. And the way to make it better, like here it's pretty ugly for depth of field because you see separate images with your 16 element, but you can add some noise. Like here I add some noise, and there it's already a lot better. I don't know if you can see it on the stream. I let the stream catch up a little bit. So you still see a lot of noise, but you don't see separate image anymore, so that's better. So you can add a noise. Here I just made the pattern rotate a little bit with each pixel. And what is also interesting is that here, so I have in my framework, I can show you a little bit of the framework. Let me think. So here I have my main loop, and so like here I do my first pass. So I bind the frame buffer with the 3 textures, and I render them, and then the second one. But before rendering them, I took each of the 3 textures, and I will generate its mipmap. So I don't know if you know what mipmap is, but for a texture you can create a pyramid of mipmaps. So you will have the same textures but divided by 2 on the size, and you will have the whole, like the texture divided by 2, by 4, by 8, And that's pretty nice because then you can use that. So if you just use the highest level, you have something that is very... I can show you here maybe. So you have here I have just the textures. If I put if I use another function here, I can specify the index. So 0 is the normal texture, 1 will be divided by 2, and I can show you, for example, 4 is that. So you see it's the same texture but divided by like 16. So it's pretty ugly because it's just a divided version. But it's still useful because when you do the blur here, if you take another version, you will start to have less noise because you are making each of your samples are less different. So by using another map, you can get you can eliminate the noise and still have something that is not ugly. So what I do here is that according to the amount of blurriness, I will use a less defined texture each time. So here, yeah, up to a point. And there you have a nice, pretty nice stuff. Okay, so let me know if you have questions. Maybe I don't know if what I said is interest of you for you. And if nobody have question, I can go to the second part of the stream. Where I will do a light coding of a shader. Okay, no question seems to be coming, so let's switch. Let's start Bonzomatic. So yeah, that's it for the 4K. For the Shadow Showdown, I hadn't planned to take part in the showdown at Evoke, but in the end I did it because there was not that much participant. So I hadn't prepared anything, so I lost to Flopping. And but after the showdown, I had ideas on how to make the showdown better. So I will show you there what it could have done. For the showdown, I started by kinda continuing what I tried to do last stream with some kind of X-ray effect or translucency effect. So yeah, I will do that now. So as always, a map function, I will just do a basic sphere just to see if everything is working. My starting position, my redirection, also I had a QWERTY keyboard and I didn't have my AZERTY keyboard, so I was a bit lost sometimes. If you look at the stream, a lot of time I put a semicolon instead of a colon, that's why. So one thing I also had trouble in the showdown is I had some crashes. That's the first time I had those kind of crashes. I will explain later why. But yeah, it was not great that. So I do my loop. Now my color. Okay. Something like that. Okay. So what I did is I tried to do something similar to what I did last stream. So repeating the like making a kaleidoscopic function and use several kaleidoscopic function in combination to make something that is not symmetrical. Like a lot of kaleidoscopic function make symmetrical output. So I created a frac function, like a fractal function. I will also need a rotation. So the basic is just to do maybe not 10, maybe 5 is better. Something like that. Something like that. And here you put an absolute. And you remove a value, and you can call it here. But I was using it with a box. So let's put a box. So that's the basic kaleidoscopic function. But what I did was not just a kaleidoscopic function with absolutes, it was with repetition. So instead of just doing symmetry on each axis, I will repeat the space. So to repeat, I can do that like that. Something like that. There, everything repeat. But of course, you will have, if you are not careful, you will have everything colliding with the camera. So one thing you can do is to use to subtract a cylinder. Like there I have a cylinder, and now I can put that back. Okay, so here I have some kind of tunnel, but you can see the repetition very easily. So one thing you can do here is to take a t-value as a parameter, and you can do another kaleidoscopic with another value, and an offset maybe on the position. You can do what you can do, maybe like that. You can do the maximum of the two things, so that will make visible only the surfaces that are in common when they intersect. So then you have to find like interesting values. That may not be easy. Oh, I know. I didn't use the second one. Okay, that's better. Hello, Centauro. How are you? So that's a bit too much, maybe. So what I did in the so what I did in the shutdown is to change these parameters, that with the time. Basically, I put time. Something like that. So I change like the push of the kaleidoscopic function depending on the time, and that's giving you that effect. I can maybe slow it down because it's a bit annoying. And one other thing I did is to make the cylinder wobble a little bit, just by using something like that. You can make the cylinder and if you put time, you can rotate it plus or minus. So it's not exactly the same as in the shutdown because I don't really know what I did. But it's something similar to that. Now in the shutdown I didn't just do like a grey render like that. I wanted to get a see-through rendering. And that's what I will show there. I'm trying to think. Maybe I will put it there. So the basic see-through rendering is just something like that. So you put a variable outside the function, you start at 0, and each time you add something divided by d, and that will add a little bit of value when you are near the surface. And so here I can remove that and put my value like that. Of course, you can multiply it by something with 3 different values to get colors. So that's nice, but it's not see-through, it's just proximity fog, something like that. To get the see-through, you don't want to break here, and you just want to, when you touch a surface, well, you want to use the absolute value there, so you always march front, even if you are inside the surface, you get a negative value, but it doesn't matter. And if you touch a surface, you just want to advance a little bit to get on the other side, and you continue. If you do that, you get something see-through like that. Ooh. It's a bit hard to see. But yeah, it's something like that. It's probably too much here. And that's one issue I had with the showdown. It was too much. What you can do after that, you can also try to put a power here to add a little bit of contrast. Maybe you can, I don't know, reduce it. Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, iterative. You see something and you try to change to fit better to what you are trying to do. We try to adjust a little bit. To get something with a little bit more contrast. One other thing I did in the showdown is to use another repetition here. Pitch 4. Space I think on pitch 2. And I will carve. Well, I don't remember what I do. Box. And from the distance, I think I just remove some bit of I don't remember, maybe add. Voilà. Maybe just that. Let's stop the explosion. It's a bit annoying. Let's maybe rotate less strongly. So I can see what I do. It's not that great. That's a little better. Here I can do that maybe. Ooh. What? Here I don't use absolute value, and I think that's the issue. Yes, yes. Okay, that's much better. So yeah, don't forget to use here the absolute value. It's quite important. There, I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but I add here I have not that many detail, but if I add that, I add a lot of little strokes. Like that. I can put back the explosion. Maybe just a little slower. I could maybe just test that. Oh, don't really like it. So that's the kind of thing I have added for the showdown. One thing I added, like I often do, is just to change what color I used. Depending on the one of the axes, like here I can use Z. Ooh. What did I do wrong? Oh, it's not P, it's R, yeah. So here I have, if it's very frontward, I have green, or else I have yellow. I can rotate the camera, of course. So the camera. Here it is. I can also put yet another color. On one other axis, green, like blue. One thing I did last time was to add just a little bit of color depending on the sky. So that there is no pure black. So that's about what I had in the showdown, just a lot faster. Maybe that's what's the mistake, because yeah, but with the music it's not easy to make something cool. Maybe I also added like one thing you can do. To add rotation. A bit strong maybe. So that's what I had on the showdown, and what I experimented then after the showdown to make it a little better is, instead of having just like here I have an homogeneous value depending just on the proximity to the surface. I have a value, but I can also color that value differently. Let me show you. I can, instead of just here using D, I can put another value, and I will use another something else. For example, I can use just a sphere from the center. That. Yeah, let's try that. And here I can use just use a cylinder maybe. Let's push it a little bit. Let's copy that. Maybe a box instead of... So here you can see a box revealed by the distance, by the field. It's maybe not that clear, but it is in fact drawing a box. But the nice thing with that, maybe I don't need that anymore. Let's remove it. So here I think you can see it. Let's remove the... You can see the box revealed by the floating scenes. And the great thing is that elements that are in the front of the box will kinda occlude it. A little bit, because that's an effect because you reach the maximum value. So if you put that lower, it will reach a lot less far. If you put more, you can go a lot farther. So you have to find something intermediary that work for your scene. But yeah, you can add you can reveal a shape with that, and I think that's interesting. You can still put a little bit of the other thing. can still put a little bit of the other thing. Maybe not that much. And you can put several similar things. For example, I can repeat. I can do that. And I can use cylinders, maybe. And I can do yet another thing. And I can put it with another color. Let's remove that. What did I do wrong? So let's copy that, and instead of the value, I will just make like blue thing or purple thing. So there I have a cylinder, but what I wanted is not that. It's not so bad. So what I wanted... Oh, I didn't want to do it on every axis. I just want to do on one. Okay. There I have several cylinders in the distance, and I can also make them I can duplicate them, I think. Do that wrong. Yeah. Let's see. No, it's not PP. Let's put back the thing, the explosion. Yeah, it's doing interesting things. It's not that great yet, I think, but if I do that here, Maybe I can remove yeah, I could. So yeah, I try to remove whatever is near the camera. And yeah, that can be useful to remove a little bit of the thing directly before the camera. Maybe instead of the black motion, I could have absolute value. With smooth step. Thank you, XJ. I'm glad you liked it. I'm not completely sure if I have what I want, to be honest. But it's not that bad. Let's not put that here. So yeah, I think if I did something like that for the showdown, I would have had more chance. Because the one I did for the showdown, that you can see on Twitch if you want, that one had not much structures. It was a bit too similar, always the same thing, and no interesting shapes. But this one is a little bit better. And I can still adjust that. Hello, down to earth guy. So this is Bonzomatic. It's software you can find on GitHub. Very easily. And it's a very simple shadow editor, but it's really useful, and it's what is used for shadow showdown. It's just 1 pixel shadow, and you just have that big shadow. Yeah. Okay. So one thing that you may notice, not that bad, but if I do something very slow, like that, you may see some noise or some bonding. It's not that obvious. But you can make it so as I showed earlier, you can lower that. It will change the effect a lot. But the cool thing but it's nice because you can do something interesting with very low iteration count with this technique. But if you do that, you may start to see bonding effects. There is not that much here, but if I do like here, I remove something from the camera, but if I don't see if you see that, but there is some kind of artifact on the screen right now. Maybe I need to be a bit faster. Yeah, you can see some kind of lines moving in front of the screen. Let me just do one thing. I will go back to my explanation, sorry. Just to add some here we go. There. I don't know on the stream if you can really see it, but there is a lot of little glitches because you don't do that many iterations. So each iteration is very important, and there is not enough to have something very smooth. But what you can do is a trick, I think. Floppin showed me and Punk showed it to her before, is to use a random value. So let's make a random function. So it will take UV as an input and must return one value. Just use a dot. So if I show that, well, on the stream it may not be that interesting, but let's show it anyway. There I have a random. On the stream it will probably be pretty ugly. And what I can do is use that random to put a little bit of noise in the result. So, like, I will have a factor, something like that. So a little bit of noise between 0, 9 and 1. And I will use that as a multiply on D. And there you can see it, there is no more lines because of that small randoms that will make every pixel slightly go at a different rate than its neighbors. So instead of seeing a line, each pixel will be slightly above or below the line, and so you will have noise instead of a sharp separation. You can see it in some place, like you can see on the bottom there. I can show you maybe if I just put a static value here, something like that, for example. Here you can see the noise, I think. And if I remove the noise, right, not that visible. Maybe another. Maybe it's a choice. You can also choose how much randomness you put. There on the top right you can see a lot of strange details, and I think if I put some noise it will disappear like that. Yeah, it's a choice. It's a choice. So there I had reduced the number of iterations, but I can go a little bit stronger there. It's hard to have everything exactly how you want it. Okay, that's not that bad. make the camera a little less fast. Thank you, down to earth. One thing I forgot, and I also forgot it in the shadow showdown, is to add some vignetting. I think it's often pretty important. It will frame a little bit better. Just testing things here. Something very, very constructed. Can be cool too. It's pretty hard to adjust it to make it a little bit subtle. Yeah, it kinda appetizing. And in the Shadow Showdown, it can be difficult to do this kind of mood, because with the music that is always very fast, maybe not the best. But with that kind of music, something very pretty slow like that is nice. I wanted, I could stop it from going too far, maybe just to see. Sorry, it's only the center that is made. Yeah, here I just have a ball. Okay, so I think I start to running out of ideas. So let me know if you have questions before I end the stream. I can go back a little bit on what I did. So first I just did the classic ray marching things. And what I did then is kaleidoscopic iterative function. That's basically it. But what I did different is that instead of just having one piece with still works with absolute, I just do one reflection plane. I can also do repetition. That's what I do here. So yeah, and then I can use that function twice with another center of symmetry. Doesn't matter. Another center of symmetry. So then I can combine two bugs in that repeated space, in that kaleidoscopic space, and I can use like the intersection of the two bugs to make a surface, so that the that's the depth of that surface. You can get pretty different effect if you change that. Yeah. And after that, I just mess around with that, and then I can display that with proximity-based iteration-based fog or something like that, just by accumulating in the value the distance. Like 1 over 1 plus the distance, something like that. And then with that I can just use it, but that will only make you surface, something with proximity based but surface. You can also use you can also use like go through the surface if you use an absolute value, and when you break normally. Oh, that's interesting too. But yeah, like here you can see what it's doing. So that's the surface we are tracing approximately. Sometimes you go through, you can see that. But that's approximately the surface we are tracing. But instead of stopping when I hit the surface, I go through. I continue to go forward. And then the next thing is that with just one attenuation and one like volumetric things, it's not that great. Everything kind of looks the same, but what you can do is use other distance to other things. So for example a box or some cylinder repeated on the side, and you can accumulate it exactly the same and use that. Here is just the basic things. That's nice, but it's the same thing everywhere. That's a bit boring. But if you use a distance from a cube, for example, you will reveal that only where the cube is. And also, another thing interesting is that when the ray is stopping too soon, like if it did all its step and didn't come through the surface, it will appear like darker than when it's hitting the surface. So that's making the little mist, black mist in the front. And I think that's quite nice. And you can use several of them and change their color, things like that. Yeah, I think that's all. Shouldn't be forced to use that. I'm still trying to find proper numbers to have something interesting at each step, but it's not that easy. Something with strong contrast and not being too bright either. But maybe that's better what I did there. Thank you, Akama. So hard to find proper values for everything. So anyway, let me know if you have a last minute question, and if not, I will stop the stream here and put probably the shader on Shadow Toy tonight and the replay on YouTube in the week. But yeah, I quite like this kind of this method. It makes nice things, very abstract, with a lot of details, and I think there is probably other idea you can do, like you can make you can work on what shape, like what is the surface, and also on what is like the light emitters. So for example here it's a cube on the center and some cylinder on the side. So you have I think a lot of controls and can do a lot of different things. Anyway, thank you all for coming. I will see if I do another stream next week. I don't know yet. But have a nice night, and thank you for coming. Goodbye.